Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, I want to get into the Lomachenko because, Lomachenko is obviously a hot topic in boxing right now. He's coming out the heels of what was, Fight of the Year candidate with Linares this past weekend at Madison Square Garden. Got up off the canvas and stopped one of the top fighters, in the division, arguably the top fighter in the division, one of the top, 15, 20 fighters in the world, really, in Linares. So just overall, a great performance from him. I think he showed us a lot in that fight, and I just find it interesting because a lot of his detractors, people don't like Lomachenko, they came out immediately and they said, okay, he won, but he still ain't the truth. He got to fight Mikey Garcia, and they said Mikey Garcia, that this fight right here proves Mikey Garcia will beat him, and I just don't see the logic in that because we look at this fight, right? Linares, naturally stronger guy, very skilled boxer, probably one of the best jabs in boxing. Probably one of the more, moves very well. Probably moves better than most fighters in boxing. He wasn't able to offset Lomachenko's movement for long enough to at least do what he wanted to do in there. He did it long enough to score a knockdown and find the right shot, but not to finish him off and not to win the fight or outpoint or anything like that. So it just takes more than being naturally stronger than him or any of that stuff, just naturally stronger, not naturally stronger, having a longer reach to beat Lomachenko. That's also another argument I've heard, that Lomachenko's going to lose to Mikey Garcia because he has a longer reach. But then it's funny because people don't even mention the fact that Mikey Garcia has the same exact reach as Guillermo Rigondeaux. Same exact reach, 68 inches. Same exact reach as Guillermo Rigondeaux. So, clearly it takes more than reach. In fact, most of the guys Lomachenko's fought of notable names in his resume have longer reaches than him. Walters, and most notably Nicholas Walters, who Lomachenko made quit, has a 73-inch reach, which is only 1 inch longer than Floyd Mayweather. So he basically made a guy quit who had 1 inch reach longer than Floyd Mayweather. So take that into account. Nicholas Walters was 73 inches. Roman Martinez was 67. Mariaga, who got criticized, Lomachenko got criticized for fighting, also had a roughly an inch and a half reach advantage on Lomachenko. Rigondeaux had a 2.5 inch reach advantage. Linares had a 3.5 inch reach advantage. And Jason Sosa had an inch and a half. Salidos has an inch and a half. Mikey has 2.5 inches. So it's not Lomachenko Mikey Garcia's reach is not something that Lomachenko hasn't seen before. So reach is not a good argument because Lomachenko's done a lot of reach. So the way I look at it is I got to look at the styles. You look at Mikey Garcia, course of his whole career. Good fighter, textbook jab, fantastic fundamentals. You can't take that away from him. He is the naturally stronger guy in that fight. At the same time, though, you look at, especially as of late, you look at his recent fights, okay? If we go to the Adrian Broner fight, that was like his first big fight in this, kind of second chapter of his career. Broner, as we all know, is about as flat-footed and stationary as they come. He's always there for you to hit. He's there for you to hit him. And with a guy like Mikey Garcia, who has his kind of level of jab, his kind of level of ring smarts, and his respectable power, it was pretty easy to keep Adrian Broner at the end of that jab and, dictate the fight. And he dominated him, dominated that fight. So that was easy work for him on that night. Then he fought Lipinets, a guy, and no disrespect to Lipinets, but this is a fact. He hadn't really fought anybody of note. In the fight right before he fought Garcia, he struggled mightily with Akiri Kondo, who, was a lower level mandatory, lower level contender, basically. That's what he was, fringe contender. Struggled with him. When I was there in the arena that night, I didn't think he won that fight. Since then, I've watched it, and then, I think he won the fight now. But regardless of the fact, he just did not look good. He had to really will himself through that fight. He fought Mikey Garcia, and, he had more than his fair share of moments. His jab was landing effectively. He busted up Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia really had to sit there and fight it out with him. So, and I'm not trying to disrespect Lipinets, but he was a converted kickboxer with 13 professional fights and really nothing at the top level. And he was able to have being able to have as much success against Garcia as he did. I think it's very alarming actually for the Lomachenko fight, because Lomachenko, unlike 99% of the fighters that Garcia's fought in his career, he's not going to sit there and be a stationary target. He is by nature, by trade, a guy who likes to come forward and fight you. He just happens to have the elusive defensive moves to fight going backwards and slip the punches, but he really likes to fight you. So I believe he'll do the same thing. He'll get in the pocket of Mikey Garcia. He will use that up jab. He will, slide to his right and shoot the left hook to the body. Those are the kind of things that he's going to do. And my thing is this. Unlike Linares, I don't think Mikey Garcia has the feet. Okay, he doesn't have the feet. He doesn't have the footwork to evade all those shots. So it's really going to take a very calculated and damn near perfect performance for him to beat Lomachenko, because ultimately, the way I see that fight happening is it's going to be one of two things. You're going to have Mikey Garcia maybe score a knockdown, hurt Lomachenko at some point. I believe Lomachenko will overcome it because he's been able to show he showed in his career the willingness to overcome it. But it will either A, end up in a decision, a unanimous decision victory for Lomachenko, or B, you will see Lomachenko stop Mikey Garcia. Y'all need to understand, this man is not hype, okay? This is a bad man. Y'all saw what he just did to Linares, right? Linares hasn't lost in 5 years, been one of the top guys at lightweight, naturally bigger than him, knocked him down in the 6th round. After the knockdown in the 6th round, you would have thought Lomachenko would have sat there and just folded, but no, he stood there in the pocket from that point forward, and he started. He was even going harder for it. He was coming harder. He was pressing actually even more after the knockdown. So I just don't see the logic in when people say that Mikey Garcia is going to destroy Lomachenko. If you think he's going to beat him because he's a naturally bigger guy, and you think he just has better skills than Linares, then that's fine. But to say that he's going to destroy him because of one simple, to be quite honest with you, a knockdown that, yes, it was a knockdown, but you could tell that Lomachenko wasn't visibly hurt by the knockdown. It was more of a shot that knocked him off balance, more of a kind of like a flash knockdown than it was actual, like, devastating knockdown. What's crazy is people will actually say, will say that about Lomachenko, but then they'll completely forget that Mikey Garcia is the same fighter that ran into a right hand from Roman Martinez lunging in. And he got put down probably just as hard, if not harder than Lomachenko. So the same Martinez that Lomachenko dominated and stopped him for 5 rounds, whatever it was, just destroyed him, knocked him out cold. Was the same Martinez that knocked down Mikey Garcia. So I just find it funny. And then as for the whole Salido thing, people want to talk about Salido. The Salido fight was interesting because people never mentioned the fact that Salido intentionally didn't make weight. He intentionally did not make the weight for the fight because he wanted that weight advantage. He rehydrated to 147 on fight night. So basically, Lomachenko fought a welterweight. Lomachenko's fight night was 135. Okay, so basically, he fought a guy who was 2 weight classes bigger than him. He fought a welterweight on the night, and the welterweight got all the advantages of him. He had the weight advantage. He had the advantage of the referee, Lawrence Cole, not calling the low blows, and he had the advantage of those are the only advantages he needed to get the fight, but to win the fight. And I thought he won it. Looking back on it now, but honestly, had the fight probably been refed more fairly, he'd probably get some points deducted. Probably would have got disqualified, but that's boxing sometimes. You don't always go away like that. In the 12th round of that fight, it is worth noting in the 12th round of that fight that Lomachenko did hurt Salido with a couple body shots, and Salido, the 147-pound fighter who was 2 weight classes bigger than Lomachenko, was gasping for air and holding on for dear life. But nobody wants to talk about that. So you can't just discredit those things. People want to say that people want to go on BoxRec and be BoxRec analysts, but they didn't actually watch the fight. So yeah, he lost to Salido. Yeah, Mikey technically beat Salido, but let's remember the Mikey Salido fight. When Mikey fought Salido was a lot. He was at the natural weight. More close to the natural weight than he was when he fought Lomachenko. And on top of that, yeah, Mikey had success earlier. I believe he dropped Salido 2 or 3 times. But as Salido began to put that pressure on him, and the first time he got cut in the fight, he was reluctant to fight. And eventually they went to the judges, and he got a technical decision. He didn't even go the full 12 rounds to Salido, because once Salido started putting that pressure on his ass and started having some success, and he couldn't handle the dirty tactics of Salido. So just in that alone, this is my opinion. Just in that alone, the way Lomachenko handled Salido's dirty tactics and the way Garcia handled Salido's dirty tactics, it just shows who they really are in the ring. This is my opinion. Who they really are in the ring. Teddy Atlas always says, there comes a time for a fighter where you have to behave like a fighter, even when things aren't going your way, and another fighter can be dirty. In my opinion, towards the latter stages of that Salido fight, I don't think Mikey Garcia had it in him to behave like a fighter, and that's always been the question with him. He has all the talent in the world, but does he really have that fire in his belly to win the big fights, the ones that really matter? That remains to be seen, and I don't really think he is going to beat Lomachenko. In fact, I think Lomachenko is going to just outpoint him. I think he'll outpoint him. I want to say this time. I think he's going to outpoint him. So yeah, that's just the way I look at that matchup. Obviously, Mikey's a great fighter, in terms of talent. But this is not Broner. This is not, a converted kickboxer who just happened to run into a world title. This is one of the most skilled fighters in the world, one of the best amateurs of all time, and he's not going to sit there and be a stationary target for Mikey Garcia. So I just don't see it. I want to see the fight. I don't know when it's going to happen. I do know that Lomachenko has a date already for is it August 23rd at the Forum in Inglewood. So we'll see what happens, man. I really hope that this fight happens, just so I can see how it plays out, because it's a great stylistic matchup. It's the smaller, more skilled man, potentially moving up to fight the not as skilled but still skilled and much naturally stronger man, Mikey Garcia. So it makes sure a great fight to me personally. It's one of the most interesting fights in boxing. But I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. And y'all might think I'm crazy for this. I think he's gonna beat Mikey Garcia. I think he's gonna outpoint him. Potentially stop him. I don't know if the power's gonna carry up to that weight, but I don't expect it to. So that's why I'm saying he's gonna outpoint him. But to me, the real challenge, and you guys are gonna think I'm crazy, but the real challenge for Lomachenko is not even Mikey Garcia, and it's not even like Gervonta Davis, really. I mean, Gervonta Davis is a good fighter. I'm sure will present some new challenges to Lomachenko. But the real challenge for Lomachenko is Manny Pacquiao. That's the real challenge. And the reason it's the real challenge is because even though Manny Pacquiao is not the Pacquiao he once was, that man, I'm telling you, he still got some serious thump in those gloves. He knows how to land the shot. And being that he's a fellow southpaw, it just presents some different things to Lomachenko, and his shot's gonna be a lot heavier. And it's just interesting, man. I mean, I do know that Manny Pacquiao said he would move down to 135. If that does happen, then I don't see Manny having a chance in that fight, because Manny's gonna be too drained. But if Lomachenko will be willing to move to 140 to fight Manny Pacquiao, I mean, that to me is the biggest challenge out there for him, my personal opinion, because Manny Pacquiao still is really, really fast, still punches really hard. I mean, you guys saw he fought Jeff Horn. Jeff Horn was roughly 165 on fight night. He was definitely at least a middleweight when he fought him, and he damn near got Jeff Horn out of there in the 9th round of that fight. So if he can do that with Jeff Horn, imagine what he can do to Lomachenko. I'm just saying. I'm just being honest. That's why I think that fight's so interesting to me. But only if it happens 140. So I give you guys my take on Mikey Garcia. I want you guys to let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like, why do you think? Do you really think that his reach and his weight's going to play that much of an advantage? Because it hasn't really for anybody else other than Salido, because Salido was 2 weight classes bigger than him, and Salido was like what? It was a second professional fight, and Salido got the benefit of the doubt from the referee and Lawrence Cole from just low blowing the shit out of Lomachenko with no warning till basically the 8th round, and then even after that, never got a point taken away, none of that stuff. So it was a perfect storm of the night for him, and he got the W. But let's not ignore some of the other things. The referee, the fact that Lomachenko did give a great account of himself on the night. A lot of people thought he won the fight. He hurt Salido in the 12th round and had the man who was 2 weight classes bigger than him holding on for dear life. So that's just the reality of it. I think he's grown a lot since then as a fighter, because after he beat Gary Russell and won the title, he had like 3 fights against like no-namers. He fought Koasicha, the other random dude, and 2 other random dudes. But the one guy I remember being Koasicha, the Asian guy. So that was the period of his career where he kind of he got a chance to get the rounds in and develop as a pro fighter. But after that period of time, he's been a way different fighter. And I don't want to say he's unbeatable, because no man is unbeatable in boxing, as we saw on Saturday night. But he is, in terms of skills, the best right now. And until someone knocks him off the pedestal, that's what it is. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Lomachenko, Mikey Garcia, how do you think their styles match up against each other? And then what do you guys think about some of my points? So leave your comments down below. Take the time to subscribe. Like I say in every video, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just kidding from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.